Okay, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening, or maybe not so friendly. Because you see, tonight is our first of our Halloween sessions that we'll be running. And tonight I am joined by one of the stars of the regular broadcasts, Dave.
Hey, folks. I would tell you what I'm playing, but I don't know.
Yes, you see, for tonight, we have set up something a little special. This was not one of our regular gaming nights, but both of us were free tonight, and I have put something together that is going to be a special little one-shot to try and add a little horror into Dave's life. Hopefully things that won't persist past tonight's session.
Ooh, Kev, are you running a Cthulhu session?
We'll see. So, we're going to meet your character, Dave, as we go through the first part of this adventure.
Okay.
So our scene opens with a hand running in water alongside a boat made of graying wood. And we see the hand come out of the water, and the person is sort of, brings their hand up, and we can see this person is sitting in this boat, which is lit only by a light source behind, which seems to have a flickering flame inside, like a lantern of some kind. And there is some figure behind this person who is, we hear the sound of a paddle going into the water. The person who is sitting in the boat brings the hand up to his face, or to up towards his gaze, and he looks at it, and we can see as he sort of looks down at the water, we can see his face reflected. And Dave, this game is set in the modern day, so this is the type of character you'll be creating. What is the face that we see looking down at the water? He looks a little confused, as if trying to place himself and trying to recall something.
He's gaunt and grizzled, lines etched across his face, excessively grayed, but not in a way that is becoming in any way. His hair is thin and kind of greasy. He's swarthy. He has a look of a laborer who has worked outside the entirety of his life, but not the kind of labor that one would associate with a good job, almost forced labor. You have the impression that he may have spent time in some form of prison camp, and he has the dour look of someone who may in fact have been an occupant of a prison camp.
Okay. So if we were to guess this person's age, how old would we think he is?
You know what? To be quite honest, looking at him, you'd probably get it wrong. He because of his exposure to the elements, and just the toll of a hard life on him, he is aged beyond his actual chronological age.
Okay. So it's someone who, does he look like he's in his 60s, but he's actually in his 50s? Does he look like he's in his 50s and actually in his 40s? What do you think?
If you looked at him, you'd say you'd probably put him in his 50s, when in fact he's at late 30s at best.
Okay. Wow. Okay, cool. So any markings on he's probably wearing a short sleeve shirt, a nondescript kind of gray short sleeve shirt. Do we see any markings on his arms at all, or his hands?
He's heavily scarred, and they're not the incidental nicks of tools or what have you. They're the long thick braided ropes, welted ropes of scars that have been applied by someone, an implement none too kind to him.
Okay.
Snake up his arms, and it's quite clear that he most likely has these scars all across his body.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do now is write down the standard kind of 6 attributes you see in D&D. So strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And you have 2 choices for how to generate your stats. You can choose to place a preset series of numbers, or you can choose to roll 4d6, dropping the lowest, and then assigning those 6. Do that 6 times and assign those to the stats. Which would you prefer?
Hold on just a second.
Sure.
So I got strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, charisma, and wisdom, right?
Yeah, and wisdom, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, what were the instructions?
So you can either choose from some preset numbers and assign those to the stats to figure out what would be appropriate for this gentleman, or you can roll 4d6, dropping the lowest 6 times, and then assign whatever you roll.
You know what? Give me the numbers.
Give me numbers. Okay. So numbers are 16, 14, 13, 13, 10, and 8. You go ahead and assign those, and just let me know what you have assigned. And as we get further into the game, too, I will, for those listening at home, I will reveal what game we're playing, though I think some folks might guess what we're playing, apart from it being an OSR game. So, Dave, so you know as well, too, to be able to make the decisions on this, anything that you assign a 16 to will get +2 modifier. Anything that's 13 to 15 will get a +1 modifier. And anything that is an 8 or, 6 to 8 will get a -1. Otherwise, they have no modifiers.
Okay, so here it goes. Strength 13.
Okay.
Dexterity 14.
Okay.
Intelligence 10.
Okay.
Constitution 16.
Okay.
Charisma 8 and wisdom 13.
8, wisdom 18. Okay, cool. Oh, sorry, wisdom which? 16?
13.
13. Okay, which one got the 16?
Constitution.
Oh, no, because he's tough. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Now, as the water is drying, and we see sort of a little of a longer shot, and we can see this guy's the sole occupant of this, apart from the person driving the boat, or the paddler, I guess, or whatever behind him. He is the sole occupant here. The water in his hand has sort of mostly kind of dried, air dried, and he's getting a better sense of who he was. So what I'd like you to do is tell me one fact about your guy. And this first fact is something about your origin. Where were you born? What society shaped your attitudes and life choices? If you might choose a specific region, you might choose like a city or something like that. You might choose a state or a province. What do you think?
Let's say he...
and it'll just be a simple sentence. And what we're going to use that for is that fact. Anytime you will be trying to do something where that fact would suggest that you've got some kind of benefit or training or something like that, or experience with that, you will gain a +4 to your roll.
Okay, so as far as where he was raised raised in Eastern Russia. Out by...
This is set in North America, so he'll have to be here for some reason.
Okay. I mean, does that mean he needs to be from North America? Or
nope. He can absolutely, just to give you an idea of where we will be meeting this character. is we will be meeting him in North America.
Okay.
If he's from Russia originally, though, that's totally fine.
Okay. Yeah. He's from the Lake Baikal region of Russia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
history.
A fact about him could be Russian immigrant, maybe.
Russian fugitive.
Right. So hold on. So he doesn't have legal standing to stay in North America?
No.
Okay. That's fine. So put down Russian fugitive as your first fact. Okay. Now, he also has, I'd like to ask you to come up with a second fact about him. And this should be something about your past profession. How were you earning a living? Was it necessary for you to labor at all? What do you think?
He was a prison guard in the Gulag, or I guess what they now call the former Gulag. But in reality, they still exist.
Well, if he's in his so he would be okay. So how would you want to phrase that fact?
Former occupation of a prison guard, as a prison guard.
Okay. So former prison guard.
Sure.
I guess. Okay.
Yes, that English is much better than mine.
Not at all. It's just refining, that's all. Okay, so it's easier to edit than write from whole cloth. So I'm simply standing on the shoulders of giants here.
You're too kind.
So now we're going to write down 3 things. These are your 3 saving throws. They are your hardiness, your evasion, and your spirit. Ooh. Got a crick in my neck.
You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I was typing too much today.
Hey, Kev, before we go on, would you mind giving me those modifiers again?
Yes, absolutely. So anything that is an 8 is a -1.
Okay.
Anything 13, 14, or 15 is a +1. And anything 16 is a +2.
Okay. And anything higher than an 8 is up and
yeah, 9 to 12 is no modifier.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the saving throws are hardiness, evasion, and spirit.
Okay. I'm rolling D20 for that.
No, I'm going to tell you how to calculate them.
Okay.
So what is your better modifier, strength or constitution?
Constitution.
Constitution, okay. And that's +2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your hardiness is a 13.
Okay.
For evasion, is your dex or your intelligence modifier better?
It's dex, and it's +1.
Okay, so your evasion is a 14. And your spirit, what's better, wisdom or charisma? Charisma was 8, so...
Yeah. So wisdom is infinitely better.
Yeah, what's wisdom? +1?
Yep.
Okay, great. So your spirit saving throw is a 14. Now the last thing that has come to him as he's sitting there on the boat, complete darkness surrounding him. He's remembered his name. And what is his name?
First and last name, or just first name?
Either.
Gregor.
Gregor, okay.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that my hardiness was 13, and it was based on my constitution, or my constitution modifier?
Yeah, so all of these are 15 minus the better of those 2 modifiers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And then you may be asked to do attribute checks. And the way you do that is it's 21 minus the actual score. That's the number or higher you need to roll.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So, as you are drifting along on this boat, you're sitting down. You look down and you can see in Cyrillic there is writing on the side of the boat, and it says, "Keep hand out of water."
Oops.
And you don't remember having seen that before. You look around and it's perfect blackness all around you. You can hear the only real sound you can hear is the sound of the paddle entering and leaving the water behind you, and the slow kind of creaking of the wooden boat.
Okay.
What do you do, if anything?
Am I paddling to somewhere?
You're not paddling. There is someone standing behind you who is paddling. You're just sitting on this boat. You are being borne somewhere.
I turn around and take a look behind me.
You turn around and look, and you can see that there is a large lantern that's hanging. It seems to be the only source of light that you can see anywhere. And the darkness around you is not like the darkness of an overcast night or something like that. Like, it is pitch and utter blackness. It's almost as if like there is a globe of light coming from this lantern. And as you look up, the light is blinding, so you really can't see who it is who's standing behind you. But you can see the bottom part. Like, if you look below the light source, you can see that there is a long grayish brown robe, almost the same color as the boat, that the boatsman is wearing. And you don't remember how you got here.
Who are you? Where are you taking me?
Nothing but the sound of the water and the paddle going in.
I will search the boat.
Okay, so you turn and you're looking around the boat. It seems to be completely empty of anything apart from you and your companion, the boatsman. As you're looking around, you something catches your eye ahead, and you can see another light source up ahead. It seems to be just hanging there at eye level, off in the distance, in the darkness.
I will try to strike up a conversation with the boatman.
What do you say? And what language do you speak?
Well, I suspect I'm
going to guess that like Russian is your native tongue, but you also speak English as well.
Yeah. No, that would come from my years living in North America. I mean, it's probably still a heavily accented English.
If you're saying you get to do a Russian accent all night, you just made my night.
I really don't want to. Like, this is not going to end well at all.
You will want it to sound like scary Ivan Dragov, but it'll come out like what is it called, Yakov Smirnov.
Yeah,
that's my Russian accent.
Yeah, pretty much par for the course. That's mine as well. Well, I'll actually go stand beside him. I mean, if I can't, I just want to get a closer look at him.
So you try and get to your feet, and then immediately the boat kind of wobbles, and you realize that it's not really safe to stand. This thing's either a lot narrower or a lot less stable than it looks. You look down at the black water. The reflection off the surface makes it seem as if it's like, rippling oil beneath. And for a split second, you think you can see something diaphanous move beneath the surface of the water, and then it's gone. It's just back to being perfect blackness again. And as you sort of look up again, and you can see you're getting closer, it looks like the shore is coming up, and that source of light that's now much closer. It seems like there are two forms that are standing there. And you kind of squint your eyes, and now you feel nothing but pain. and you squint and you're trying to get a sense of where you are. And it's really disorienting because you find yourself in an overturned motor vehicle. What kind of motor vehicle? This is your motor vehicle. What kind of vehicle would you have been driving?
You know what? It's some nondescript, really like shitty shit box. It's like a Datsun or like a like an older model Corolla or
Okay. And you, like I said, you're sort of turned up on its head, and you're looking around. The lights are still on the dash of this, but it appears that you've come to rest. You know, looking out, you can see earth ahead of you. You can see trees outside, and in the passenger seat next to you, dead, is someone who means a great deal to you. Who is that person? Is it a wife, a girlfriend, a family member, a child?
let's say a girlfriend.
Okay. What's her name?
Say Susanna.
And if we were to cast Susanna in the movie version of tonight's session, who would be playing her?
A fucking beat up ratchet Patricia Arquette.
Okay. Love it. Okay. So you look over, and Susanna has a massive gash on her forehead. Her neck is bent at a strange angle, and you can tell that she's, she seems to suffer some pretty catastrophic injuries here. You're in a great deal of pain as well too. Would you give me what do you do? What do you do?
I will call out to her. I'm shaking her. Susanna, wake up.
I think that the radio probably is still on as well too.
Anything?
No response from her.
Yeah. Gregor's pretty beside himself. He's gonna kind of go kick into survival mode and try to exit the vehicle so that he can come around and help her.
Sure. You have to sort of like maneuver yourself to unhook your belt. So there's unhook it, and you fall down onto the overturned roof of the vehicle. You can see that the whole Susanna's whole side of the vehicle is actually crunched down a bit as well. It's probably that's what's actually seems to have turned her neck to that strange angle. But it looks like you can actually get your way out on the what do you call it? On the driver's side of the vehicle. On the radio, House of the Rising Sun is playing.
Ooh.
You
Nice.
have to smash your way through the window.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you easily do that. Would you give me a wisdom check, please? So remember, it's 21 minus whatever your wisdom score is. It's that number or higher you need to roll. And do you think, I'm trying to think what if your facts would apply here. I don't think so.
Okay. Just a D20?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. That's bad.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm not going to use that dice anymore. But I did roll a 1.
A 1, okay. So no, you I have to kick the you first try and like put your elbow through the window, and it doesn't quite work, so you have to turn around and you curse, and you smash the window out on the driver's side. You crawl out, and what you're crawling out into is basically a basically like a West Coast rainforest. There's still there's light rain that's falling, and it's thick. The thick kind of like rainforest floor with ferns and fallen debris and whatnot that you crawl out into, and it's black in every direction. Though you look up, you can see through some of the clouds. The rains are falling, but it's not completely overcast. You can see the stars poking through. And as you're sort of adjusting, you can see there's a full moon as well. As your eyes are adjusting, you first are kind of struck by, as you crawl out, that you're on a slope that has sort of there's a if you look to further down, the slope continues down towards something. It's thick forest further down the hill, and around you is the sort of thick, what you would recognize as the West Coast, like northern West Coast, like interior BC kind of forest. But you're in a bit of a clearing, like a place where it levels out and then it plunges down. And just before it plunges down, there's this massive black dog that's just standing there with two big white patches on his neck, who's just standing there you're not sure if it's like a Great Dane or like a Mastiff or what, but this dog seems to be just looking at you. And you're sort of like looking at this dog and trying to remember what the heck happened here when you hear voices from further up the slope. Hey, did you check that? Did you hear that? What's down there? And you kind of turn and look up, and you can see at the top, first off, there is a looks like a broken kind of wooden edging that seems to be where your vehicle came through, and your vehicle rolled down. You can see the broken debris that's been cleared by your vehicle coming down this side. And you can see at the top there are people standing there. They're only illuminated by the moonlight. It seems like there's a road up there of some kind, but it doesn't look like it's in any kind of urban area. And you remember now, you were on your way to a place called Hopetown on Watson Island on the BC coast. Now, you were going to Hopetown to either meet with or to collect somebody who means a great deal to you. Who do you think that person is?
I didn't actually picture Gregor having, as a fugitive, he wouldn't have had very many people.
Nope, but we don't plan for these things. These things just happen. So is it a family member? Is it a child? Is it...
Yeah, let's say he has a daughter.
Okay. So this is with mom and her new beau?
What was that?
So the daughter is with mom and her new beau?
No, she would be alone, actually.
Well, if you're in your 30s, how old would your daughter be? Well, late 30s. Figure she could be 15, I think, at the most. Like, unless you came over here quite early.
Yeah, let's say she's she's kind of mid-teens-ish. We'll make her 16.
Okay.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he came over quite a while ago. He may have just recently, well, not recently, but relatively recently left.
Well, his the mom, she could be Russian as well.
Right.
And this could have been just where she, ended up.
Yeah, well, see that what I had pictured for him is that he had sent his family or his daughter at least into hiding, and as a fugitive, he's had to escape to North America, and she's actually found her way back to him, despite his best efforts to kind of break contact.
Okay, so maybe he actually lives in Hopetown then. That would be a good laborer type place, right? Like a lot of the jobs available in those interior BC locales are not exactly, they don't ask a lot of questions, and
Yeah,
that could be.
we could say he's a logger.
Yeah, sure. So you and the girlfriend we're heading back home where your daughter was. Okay. Was Susanna the mom or was someone else the mom?
Someone else, the mom.
And what's the daughter's name?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. Okay. Okay, so you remember now that you were on your way back to pick up Anastasia when you've got a weird. You put your hand in the back of the head like you're trying to remember, and Jesus Christ, there's a fucking wound there. You can feel like there's something, and it hurts, but not nearly as much as it should, given the size of this wound. You bring your hand back, and there's a bunch of clotted blood.
You know what? I don't think anything of it. Gregor's been in fairly difficult positions. He's no stranger to a beating or a head wound, and he probably just. I mean, he's okay, so it can't be that bad, regardless of what it may feel like back there.
Sure. Your constitution is currently a 16, right?
Yeah.
Would you kindly raise it to 18? And that means that your hardiness save goes down by 1 because your constitution scores now, or modifiers now, +3.
Ooh.
And if you could please mark down your armor class is a 3.
Okay.
And it seems like there's a series of people with flashlights who are heading their way down. Their accents all sound North American. We'll get down there. Check it out. What's on there? You're going to have like a split second to sort of react here. What do you want to do?
Naturally, I call out for help.
Okay. So what do you say? Just help?
Yeah. Help, help. I need help here.
Okay. You call out for help, and the response you get, one sec here. Okay. Your armor class is a 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 16 plus 3 is 19. Okay. There is gunfire coming from the top of the hill. So let's talk about how many hit points you have.
Oh, it's that time, is it?
It's that time. So you have. Oh, where is it here? Sorry, I'm just looking here. Uh, 8 plus your Constitution modifier, so you have 11 hit points.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but all right.
Would you also record something called effort? You have 2 points of effort.
Okay.
And your attack bonus is a +1. You also have something called a fray dice. Your fray dice is a 1d8. And we'll talk about how that plays in a moment. So the shots are raining down at you. Those people who are up on top are shooting at you. And one of them manages to connect. However, you only take 1 point of damage. And you sort of, now it's your, what we're going to do is, one sec here. Aha. You get to go first. So, what do you want to do?
How many of them are there?
Looks like there's at least like 4 of them with flashlights and guns that are shooting down at you.
Yeah, I'm hiding.
Okay. So would you kindly give me, let's see here. That'll be a dexterity check. Do you think either of your, what do you call it? Oh, it's not a dexterity check. It'll be a skill check. One sec here. Oh, those would be an attribute bonus. So dexterity check. And do you think either of your facts would apply?
Yeah, I mean, as a fugitive,
totally buy that. So you get +4 to your roll. So what is it? 21 minus, what's your dex?
14.
14. So that's a 7 +4 is +4 to your roll. So basically you need to roll a 3 or higher.
Okay.
Okay.
Yay, roll a 7. I mean, it's not great, but it's higher than 3.
Okay. So you make your check, and what are you going to do to hide? There's like trees on either side. There's that, you look back and actually that dog is gone. And there's the sort of a ledge leading down. Where is it that you're going to hide? Or are you just hiding behind the car?
No. I run into basically as far into the woods as is reasonable given the time. And then what I do is I lie down and I cover myself in leaves and dirt and detritus.
Okay. So you do that. And as you do, the men come down the hill, and you can hear them talking. Where'd he go? Where is it? He was here a minute ago. We'll find him. We can't have him go. Check the other one too. Is there anyone else in the vehicle? No. Nope. Just a woman. Is she dead? And you hear poof, a gunshot. Yep. So you're hearing this go on. Are you doing anything, or are you just hiding?
No, just hiding. I'm waiting for them to clear out. I'm not going to leave without Susanna, or at least her body.
Okay. So you are thinking, the back of your head is actually throbbing a little bit now, and you seem to have this like flashback of you and Susanna driving along, listening to this, one of the only FM stations you could pick up on your shitty old vehicle. You guys are talking about like the idle stuff that, that couples talk about like what you need to do. Oh, remember, I need to go to the store tomorrow to pick up, whatever else for Anastasia. Don't forget she's got whatever coming up. And you're like, yeah. And you remember feeling a sharp pain in the back of your head. And the next thing you remember is waking up upside down.
Okay.
There's something else. Would you kindly make another wisdom check for me, please?
Oh my god.
Another nat 1?
Yeah.
They don't like it. Okay, so you're just standing there, and these guys start fanning out, and they're making they're definitely making a search. Come on, hurry up! We got to get this done. Just find him. He can't be around her. Keep your eyes out. Come on, he's fell down. Look at this hill here. Look at and then you hear someone shout from the car. There's a ton of blood in here. He's got to be injured. And then, let's see here. One of them is actually probably within about 10 feet of you. And you can hear a voice in your ear that says, "Reap him." It's a voice you don't recognize, and it sounds like a forced whisper, very strong, right next to you. And you know that you can reach out and claim this guy. The boiling over of anger that you're feeling, knowing that they may be responsible or involved in some way for Susanna's death, is just, I think, eating at you. Do you reap him?
I'm not sure what that entails, but given the combination of blinding anger and self-preservation, yeah, I grab hold of like a good size stone and leap forward and basically smash his head into pulp.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Would you kindly give me an attack? It is, let's see here. I'm just going to check his armor. So what you're going to do is add his armor, add his AC, add your attack bonus, which is +1, and add your strength modifier to your attack roll. And this guy's also, he's completely unaware, so I'll give you another +2 to hit as well. And this Joker has an AC of 7. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to roll 1d20. Add, let's see here, your attack modifier +1, your strength modifier is +1, that's +2. +7 is +9, +1 more, so +10 to your roll.
Crazy. Oh, for fuck's sakes. I rolled a 3, so that's actually 13.
So that's not quite good enough. So sorry, I should have told you. You need to roll 20. Like the total needs to be 20.
Oh, I see.
Now, do you want to? You have 2 effort. Would you like to commit an effort for the scene to get this done?
Yeah, let's get it done.
Okay, so maybe like set a dice up in front of you that's got onto 2 and put it down to 1 because we're going to be tracking your effort. This is only committed for the scene. Would you kindly roll 1d10 for me?
Two.
A 2?
Yeah.
So what happens is you miss him, but in your fury, you kind of you lash out, and you can see, and you should not be able to see this. You see his soul torn from his body, and you torn. It is, I should say, ripped from his body and then torn into shreds, and it enters into you. He drops limp, and you heal 1 point.
Ooh.
Now you have a fray dice there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Would you kindly roll your fray dice?
It's going to be that kind of night.
Just getting them out of the way.
Yeah, sure. 1. I rolled a 1.
Okay. So I'm going to get you to write down a quick little chart here. So put down damage roll and then put damage taken as 2 different columns. It's only going to be a couple rows here. So damage rolled, damage taken. Damage rolled 1 or less is no damage taken. Damage rolled 2 to 5 is 1 point of damage taken. 6 to 9 is 2 points of damage taken. And 10 or more is 4 points of damage taken. So what you do is you roll your damage, compare it to that chart. That tells you how much damage they actually take.
Okay.
So you go have torn the flesh, the soul out of that one and hit the other. Then it is the other guys kind of turn and say, he's over there, and start opening up on you. Let's see here. Your AC's a 3, 13. Okay. So they're firing away. The bullets are churning up bits of black, dark earth around you, hitting trees, but none of it is hitting you. Your turn. What are you doing? There's probably still about 5 or so of these guys around. And you have an ability. You have an ability called Fist of the Grave.
Okay. Is this all new to me, or is this familiar?
This is completely new to you.
Okay. What is Fist of the Grave?
Fist of the Grave. You make an attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
On a successful hit, you commit effort for the scene to gain. Hold on here. Yeah, you make a magical. So you make an attack dealing 1d10 damage with a range of 200 feet. If you hit, you can commit effort, so that doesn't cost you anything to do to just do damage with it by shredding souls. On a hit, though, you can commit effort for the scene, and you gain twice the attack's damage as hit points of personal hit points up to your max.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you can do that attack anytime you want, and then if you commit effort for the scene, which means that you'll get it back at the end of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Well, I'm already at full hit points, so that is not necessarily required at this juncture.
Remember, the magical attack is, or the Fist of the Grave attack is separate from the draining health. Draining health is an optional thing, but it doesn't cost you any effort to make the attack.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's see.
And narratively, you can choose to make it like a physical thing. You can choose to make it because you can do it up to 200 feet, but you can choose to make it look and describe it however you like. That's the net effect, though, is you are ripping their souls effectively.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically a distance attack of doing the same thing up to 200 feet.
Yep.
Okay. Let's do that.
Okay. So you describe for us what you do.
Intuitively, Gregor plunges his fist into the earth, and somehow his hand actually sinks into the ground. And what you see coming up behind the other one of the attackers holding the gun is this spectral hand that comes up out of the ground behind him.
Yep.
Up his back and reaches up, starting at his head, and just rakes down his back
Ah!
And
Okay.
you can see basically it's what the spectral hand would have, or what a normal hand would have done to a physical body. The spectral hand actually does to this guy's soul.
Nice. Okay, so let's see. Because it is a magical attack, it means that let's see here. Attack bonus. So it's whatever attribute seems to be most pertinent. So do you think this is a like force of will thing using your wisdom? Do you think it's a intellectual thing? It doesn't seem to me like strength or dex or con necessarily, but I'm open to pitches. What do you think?
Yeah, let's well, I mean, if you are buying pitches, I will shoot for con, based on his current level of just his self-preservation,
Sure.
his
Yep.
desire to live, and now that he's made the association that he can basically gain strength or life back from doing this.
Yep.
He's starting to, I guess, get a little power hungry.
Okay. So what I a sec here. Would you kindly roll? Let me ask you this: is this the first time that Gregor has killed someone?
Not even a little bit.
Okay. Then would you kindly roll 1d20 and 1d6?
10 on the d20 and then 1 on the 6.
Okay. So add those together and then record that as your madness rating.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, then yes, so it's your Constitution. So your attack bonus plus your Constitution plus their armor class, which is 7. So I think it's a plus 11 total. And you want to roll 20 or higher total.
Say again?
I think it's plus 11 total.
Okay.
Right? Because it's plus 3 from your con, plus 7 from their armor class, plus 1 from your attack bonus.
I thought my armor class was only 3.
No, but you're targeting their armor class.
Oh, okay.
Right. And actually lower is better because it's a smaller number that's added to the attack roll.
Holy fucking fuck.
Did you roll another 1?
It might as well have been. I rolled a 7. Actually, for like 1 second there, it really looked like another 1, and I was about to like.
Okay, so what you can do though is you still get to roll your fray die. Anytime you make an attack, you roll your fray die and someone takes damage.
Okay.
Hit or miss. So go ahead and roll your fray dice and tell me what you rolled.
Fucking.
Did you roll another 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so no damage, unfortunately. Okay, that means it's their turn again. So they are continuing to sort of rain fire down into you. Fuck, they still miss, and that will hit. So I'm going to roll and compare it to the chart. You still only take 1 point of damage. You're hit again in the like in the back. Go! Something shot you. 1 point of damage. Your turn. What are you doing?
Can I try Fist of the Grave again?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So you lash out at one of these because all you're really seeing is flashlights and muzzle flashes at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and make your attack roll.
Okay. Okay, well, that's a 12.
That's a hit then. So go ahead and roll your the damage. What you could do too is you can roll your attack, your damage, and your fray dice all at once. And then we
Okay.
just say if you hit, great, we've already rolled it. If not, then we miss. And you'll always be doing fray damage. So what was the damage from your Fist of the Grave?
Ooh, that's a 9.
9. So 9 is I think 2 points of damage.
Yep.
And then what was the fray dice?
Fray dice. 3.
3, which is I think also is 1 damage. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so that means you did 3 points of damage total. So 3 of these guys are dead.
Ooh.
So how does that look?
Same thing as before, except instead of the one spectral hand that comes out of the ground behind them, it's 3.
And they drop down. Okay, and then it is their turn. I'm going to make a morale check for them because they have lost more than half their number. And nope, they're okay. These guys are no frickin' joke. They're continuing and they're like, take him down, take him down. Oof, we got 1 hit on you again. Oh, first, before I do that, you did have the option to commit an effort to regain 1 hit point if you wanted.
I was at full hit points anyways.
No, because you took 1.
Yeah, and then I got 1 back from...
No, remember, you have to commit effort in order to try and regain that hit points. You do the damage, but you have to commit effort in order to, that's the part of that attack that requires you to commit effort.
Right. At last round, I thought I did that.
Well, no, you did you've only done that, as far as I know, 1 time.
Right. Did I take damage after that?
Yeah, you did. You got shot again for 1 point of damage.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. And then it is, they hit you again. And, ooh, geez, that's a higher one. You take 2 points of damage. Go! You've got 2 more, for sure, 2 more wounds on you. And am I correct in thinking this is not the first time you've been shot?
Right.
This should hurt a lot more than what it does. Those are 2 shots that should down you. Your turn. What are you doing?
How many more of them are there?
There are still probably about 4 guys.
Let's try Fist of the Grave again.
Okay. So you turn it.
All right. Oh, rolled an 8.
Okay, but remember, so roll your attack, your damage, and your fray dice all at once.
Okay.
Because you're always going to do your fray damage anyway.
Okay. Attack was 7.
Okay, so you miss. Well, you missed with your attack roll. What was the the reason you roll that with it is just because, if you miss, then you're not losing anything. If you hit, we've already rolled it.
Okay. Fray dice is 4.
4. Okay, so that is another point. So another guy goes down, torn down by your this swirling spectral hands. And then their body.
Can I an effort to get hit point back?
You cannot, because you didn't actually hit with that attack.
Oh,
so what the fray dice reflects is that you're just a lot more badass than the average person right now. So if you're engaging in combat, you're always going to be able to do extra damage to somebody.
Okay.
This is just how much more capable than the average human you are. Since another guy went down, I'm going to make another morale check. Nope, still sticking around. So then they are going to, I think, change up things. Wait, are they? Yeah, they're going to run in and try and get you.
Okay.
No, they're going to take cover behind trees and keep, they're changing clips and are going to blaze into you again. Fuck, another one hits. Jeebus. You take another 2 points of damage. That's another 2 bullets hit you. Again, you should be down and feeling this a lot more than what you actually do. What are you going to do?
How many more
Give me
left?
1 sec here. I'm going to give you one more option here. Okay. You have an ability as well called Rage of the Eternal. And what this is you commit effort for the day. So this is something you have to commit for the full day, which means you won't get it back till you take an 8-hour rest. You commit it for the day when making a normal attack. Whether your attack deals straight damage. Now, what straight damage means is, that chart that I'm having you refer to?
Yeah.
You don't refer to that. You just do whatever damage is there. And to give you insight as to how much hit points the things you're fighting are, you may not, because you haven't run D&D before, but you may be aware that monsters and NPCs and stuff like that, they have a number of hit dice. And that's how many dice you roll to make up their hit point pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't track hit points in this. You track only hit dice. So if these things are 1 hit dice, they only take 1 point of damage to go down. If it's a 5 hit dice creature, it's 5 dice. When you roll your dice, you do straight damage with this rather than dealing, going to the chart.
Gotcha.
So this is your massive Hail Mary kind of thing. Even on a miss, it inflicts damage normally. So even if you miss, you still get to refer to the chart. Attacks augmented with this gift cannot be given maximized damage by any other power. So that's fine. So basically, Rage of the Eternal, you make an attack, and if you hit, you do straight damage. If you miss, you still do normal damage. You roll damage normally and apply it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
How long does it last?
Only for that one attack. It's really like a massive Hail Mary kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. What are you going to
do? You know what? Try the, let's go with a Fist of the Grave again.
Okay. So you turn and lash out. Go ahead and make your attack roll. Roll your attack, your damage, and your fray dice.
Oh, God. 10? Does 10 hit?
Is that 10 plus the 11?
No, I haven't added the 11 yet. So 21.
21 does hit. Yep.
Okay. So that's damage of 6 and 3 fray dice.
6 and 3 in the fray dice. Okay, so that's 2. Oh, no, 6 is.
Yep.
What is? Yeah, 6 is 2, right?
Yeah, and then
okay, so 2 and then 1 from the fray dice. So another 3 points of damage. God, there's only one guy left standing. Now, because you did 3 points of damage to that attack, you could commit effort and regain 6 hit points.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay. So what does that look like as those things come streaming into you?
As each of the soul hits my body, I take on this like ethereal glow momentarily with each one, and it's like there's this pulsing inside of me, but only for a moment, and then it just dissipates and it's gone.
Okay. So you sort of, you stand there, and you feel incredibly empowered. Let me roll a morale check for the last remaining soldier. He's going down with his unit. So he pulls out a grenade, pulls the pin, and tosses it at you. Whew. It does actually connect at your feet and explodes. You go flying back, taking 4 points of damage. You slam against you kind of roll to the ground. You know for sure that should have killed you. So something very strange is going on here. What do you want to do?
I will. There's only one left?
Yep.
I will charge him and attempt to reap his soul.
Okay. So you go racing towards him. Are you going to do it like hand-to-hand kind of style?
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead. Same attack bonus, I'll just say. I'll say you're still kind of in that desperation phase, so I'll let you use your constitution still. So plus 11 to the dice roll.
Okay. 15.
15 is unfortunately not good enough. So you, what'd you roll in your fray dice?
A 1. Lucky me.
Okay. So unfortunately, so you're not, you go charging in at this guy, and he's sort of backing up and firing as he goes. He once again pulls up his machine gun, or submachine gun, I should say, fires at you, but he's firing blindly, spraying all over the place. What are you doing?
I will slip in behind him and reap him from the back.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
So 13 plus 11, 24.
Yeah, it is definitely hit. How much damage does this guy take?
He takes 2 points.
That's, so again, his body kind of twitches back and then falls down lifeless. You're unfortunately out of effort right now, so you can't reap him. But you're sitting there and you're looking down at yourself, and there's ruined rags left of your clothing. There's giant wounds on your body. How are you alive?
I cannot answer that. However, I am glad to be. I've been in this situation before, so I'll start basically patching myself up. There's probably a first aid kit in the car. I'll start, binding my wounds and staunching blood flow, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So let's see here. What I'll get you to do is give me roll 1d6 and compare it to that damage chart. That's how many hit points you're able to restore to yourself.
Okay. That's 1 point.
Okay. So you gain 1, and you have to do this weird, put your keys upside down, pop the trunk, and pull the stuff that's all spilled all over the place. And you can hear some squawking on the radios from the fallen bodies near you.
I pick up one of the radios.
Okay. As you look over to, you're sort of taking in the scene. That dog is back again. That big black Great Dane or Mastiff with the 2 white spots.
I'll mouth over to the dog. Come here.
And the dog kind of comes trotting over. Its tail kind of wagging a little bit back and forth. Its eyes almost seem black too, like it's those big brown eyes. So it kind of sits down and looks at you.
I give it a perfunctory pat.
Yep.
But at this point, I'll grab one of the 2 ways and take it with me. And I'm going back to the car for Susanna.
Okay. So you find that first you gain your 2 effort back because they were only committed for the scene.
Okay.
Now, as so you're able to sort of, you have to go in through your door, I think, from the way we described it. So you do unhook her, and after a little bit of, fuss, you're able to kind of get her out. What do you plan to do? It's probably about maybe a 60-foot incline up to the road where you can see looks like there are 2 vehicles left running.
What is below me?
Below you is, you actually know, below you will lead down towards the, one sec here. Actually, I think it's Hope Bay.
Say again?
And you can see off to the right is where Hopetown is. And you're looking up and you can see that the clouds are making a very strange kind of pattern in the sky above Hopetown. The lights are all on in Hopetown, which is, I mean, you can see them kind of in the night against the blackness of the forest that blankets Watson Island. But there's a swirling kind of like pattern of clouds accumulating over Hopetown.
If I had to, I mean, if I had to make it on foot to Hopetown, how long would it take?
By foot, probably. Well, depend. Do you mean like along the road or through the woods?
Well, through the woods.
Through the woods, it would take a lot longer. Through the woods would probably take you, see here, 4 kilometers an hour normally walking. You're probably about maybe half hour out, so it would have been about 50 kilometers. So 10, yeah, it's a long time to get there so on the road, it would take you about maybe 6-7 hours. Through the woods, where you're talking like 10, 12.
Okay, well, fuck that. I'll grab Susanna's body. I'll motion to the dog to come with, and I'll head up to the road. Actually, before I motion to the dog and drag Susanna's body, I'll kind of scout out and make sure that there aren't more men up at the top waiting, or that it's actually safe to go.
Sure. Okay, so you head up. Describe for me how you're going to do that.
Well, so basically, I move from tree to tree until I get to the point where I can no longer safely move under the cover of darkness. Like once streetlights or what have you start creating illumination or shadows, I'll basically like belly crawl up the remainder of it.
Okay. So I'm not even going to make you roll. Like you are easily able to get up there without being seen. And what you see is that there are 2 vehicles that are stopped there. One of them is a open top Jeep, and one is a pickup truck. Both look like they've seen a lot of like backwoods kind of stuff, and they've got some camo paint on them. So you think there's like hunting racks for rifles and stuff in the back, and there is a driver sitting behind the wheel of the pickup, and he's got headphones on. So he seems to be interested in something on his phone. He's not paying attention. That seems likely why he didn't hear the firefight.
Well, guess who's getting reaped next? Yeah. So I'll sneak around the back of the pickup.
Okay.
To the driver's side, tear open the door, and do what
you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just make. Okay. So you're able to sneak your way right up there, and I think like what we would see in the movie version is this guy sitting and like watching videos or whatever else he's doing on his phone, and then he sort of like out of the corner of his eye, he suddenly sees something in the side mirror, and then the door is thrown open. And go ahead and make your attack roll. Just roll damage. Actually, I'm not even gonna. I think it'll be easy enough to hit this guy.
Okay. Ooh, 2. Just 2.
2. Okay. Well, it's still enough. This guy's only got 1 hit dice, so you. If you want to commit an effort for the scene, you can regain 4 points or 4 hit points back. Wait, did you roll a 2 or was it 2 points of damage?
2 points of damage.
Oh, fuck yeah. So you get to heal 4 then.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay. So you go back down out. Where did you leave Susanna's body?
Well, so she would have been out of the. I would have brought her to the lowest point of the incline that I could.
Okay.
So she's propped up against a tree.
Okay. So you go over to the tree, and as you're making your way over, you hear kind of the same like low growl of pleasure that the dog made when you were scritching him. And you're about to pick up Susanna's body, and you hear the dog, and you hear Susanna's voice say, "Good boy, good boy."
Like her voice coming from her body?
Nope, from over where the dog is. You turn around, and Susanna's standing there, scritching the dog. You look and you look back at the body. The body's still there. You look back at her. What was her pet name for you?
Say Rocket.
Okay. She says, "Hi, Rocket." What was the relationship like with Susanna? Was it solid? Was it rocky? Was it, a new relationship, an older one, solid on rocky foundation? What do you think?
No, I mean it was a solid relationship. But I mean, let's be honest. We didn't make good decisions together necessarily, right?
Yeah.
We kind of fell into a certain lifestyle, and yeah. But I mean, we're happy together. Like we were good.
Okay.
You know.
So she says, "Hi, Rocket. Guess you should have let me drive, huh?"
Babe, if that's you, then
Oh, that's me.
what? Did we get high before I? What's going on here?
You tell me, Rocket. You called me back.
I called you back from. When did I do that?
When you came back.
What, babe, I'm not getting any of this. What do you mean when I came back from where?
She says, kind of gives you the little smirk that she always lets you know it's her. She says, "You don't think you really don't think that either of us survived that?" And she kind of nods towards the wreck. "You died too, Rocket."
I don't know how that's possible, seeing as I'm standing right here and you're propped up against that tree over there.
Why don't you check your pulse?
Put my fingers to my wrist.
No pulse. Rocket, have you breathed?
Look, the pulse could mean anything. I'm probably in shock right now. Quite obviously I am, because I'm seeing you.
Try holding your breath, Rocket.
Takes a big gulp of air.
You don't ever have to let it go. You never feel the need for another gasp.
This is crazy. But if I'm dead, where's my body?
It's just you're in it. You just got to keep yours.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing, actually.
Well, it does come with some perks. You've got some borrowed power.
What do you mean borrowed? Borrowed from who?
Well, they lent this. Think of it more of as a trade. Something you get to keep. If you can stop, and she kind of looks over at the swirling clouds. There's bad things coming, Rocket. There's secrets under Hopetown that we didn't know about. And if those get revealed, well, things are bad for everybody. And I mean everybody. So they gave you a little something, Rocket.
Shit, Suze. Anna's she's still in Hopetown. We've got to get her the fuck out of there.
She nods. If they succeed at what they're doing, there's nowhere you can go that'll be safe. But you got to get Anna safe.
Yeah, you mean we have to get Anna safe? Get the fuck in the truck.
She smiles and says, "It's only a brief visit, Rocket. You're the one back for good."
Wait, but what do you mean? I just got you back.
It's just a part-time, a loner.
Well, how long are you here for?
She steps forward towards you. She says, "Not much longer, Rocket. Say hi to Anna for me."
Oh, babe, don't go again. You got to tell me what's going on. Why don't we do like we used to and just go for one last ride, and you can tell me what the fuck this is.
She leans in and she says, "This is our last ride. You should have let me drive." She leans in and gives you a kiss. Your eyes close, and does the kiss leave you feeling hot or cold?
Say hot.
So as you open your eyes, there's a flare of fire within them. And something has been kindled within you. You know now that you are immune to flame and smoke. And you can wield existing fire as a magical weapon with a range of up to 50 feet, dealing 1d10 damage. So you sort of like look over and the flames that sort of still I'm trying to think if there is any flame here. Maybe there isn't. We haven't established there is, but
And
you have one more power.
Okay.
Power is called Nimbus of Flame. You commit effort for the scene, and you're surrounded by a halo of searing heat. Anyone who attacks you in melee combat takes 1 point of fire damage before the attack is resolved.
Ooh.
And they can only do it once, even if they got multiple attacks, but that's pretty, and that's straight damage. That's not applied to the chart. So,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if fire is what works, before is Susanna still around? Is she gone?
Susanna's gone completely.
Ah, shit, fuck. All right. If fire is what works, I run down to the car and grab a bunch of road flares.
Sure.
From the car, and then I'll search the contents of the vehicles, because if the guys had one grenade, they might have more, or any other kind of incendiary explosive.
Sure. Yeah, you probably find a couple of those.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's also submachine guns in there as well.
Excellent. I'll basically stockpile it all in the back of the pickup.
Okay. So you store all that shit in the back of the pickup. And what do you do?
I'll take a second to see if I can go through, and really like a quick second, because I know enough that when people come after you, it's not long until more come back. So I'll go through the guy's phone and actually try to get an idea of what the fuck they were doing.
Sure. Give me. Let's see here, because I'm trying to decide if these guys would have password protected phones or not. Why don't we just leave it to give me an intelligence check?
Oh,
so it'll be 21 minus your intelligence. And then if you think either of your facts would apply, you get to add +4 to the roll.
As a former prison guard, one of the things that Gregor would have been responsible for confiscating is contraband like cell phones, and probably cracking into them to...
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead and give me so that'd be +4 to your roll.
Okay. Rolled a 6, so that's 10. And I got no modifiers for intelligence, so...
what's your intelligence?
10.
Your intelligence is a 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so then remember it's 21, so you need an 11 to succeed. Did you succeed?
Nope. I was one shy.
One shy, okay. So, I'm going to give you... Hold on, I'm going to... Tell me which of these words do you think describes your condition right now? Is it might with an M? Is it vengeance? Murder? So vengeance, might, murder, or night?
Which one describes my current state?
Your current, the power that has been loaned to you. I can tell you one of them is fire.
Right.
And one is risen.
Well, given the context around which he just did battle, I would say vengeance.
Vengeance, okay. So, your vengeance ability, your normal attacks always hit a target who's inflicted hit point damage on you within the past round.
Ooh. Okay.
And let's see here. And sorry, I'm just trying to give you two options here. Okay, so here's one. You could do blood for blood. Once per scene, and I'm going to give you two options here. You'll choose one of these two. Once per scene, target a creature who has just inflicted hit point damage on you or an ally in the prior round. That creature automatically suffers the same amount of damage. that they have inflicted on the specific victim within the past round. Worthy foes can make a spirit save to have it rounded up. So that's one, is blood for blood. They hit you, you can commit an effort to have them take the same amount of damage. Or furious counterstrike. Commit effort for a scene. For the rest of the scene, whenever you're hit with a normal attack and suffer damage, you get an instant normal attack in return at the culprit, which inevitably hits.
They kind of sound really similar. What is the
one is if you take damage, they automatically take damage. Mm-hmm. The other one is you commit it, and for the scene, whenever you're hit by a normal attack and suffer damage, you get an instant normal attack in return against the person that inevitably hits it. So one of them is auto damage for whatever you take. The other one is you get to hit them with your damage. So if the advantage to the second one is that you get to use your own damage roll rather than whatever damage they do.
I see.
So one is probably more effective against more powerful adversaries. The other is, against lesser. What do you think? Blood for blood or furious counterstrike?
Let's go blood for blood.
Okay, so that's the one. Blood for blood is once per scene. Target a creature who's just inflicted hit point damage on you the prior round. That creature automatically suffers the damage. Oh, so that's actually better. You don't have to spend effort for that.
Right.
So that's pretty badass. Okay. All right. So you've realized another power. What are you doing now? Oh, you're unlocking the phone, and you were unsuccessful at that. You tried a bunch of these things, and these fucking Americans use much more complicated. Why does every single one of these guys have a more complicated cell phone than the prisoners you dealt with?
I don't know what you're talking about, Kev. A Russian can hack any American phone. They do it all the time.
Hey, here's one thing you can do, though. Let's say I don't know if you have to commit it for a scene or for... one sec here. Okay, so you can commit effort for the full day to do something that fits within one of your words. Doesn't have to be an actual power you've already got. You can use it to try almost anything. So if you've got something that would fit within Risen, Fire, or Vengeance, you could try and do something. So just as an example, you could commit effort to, pick up the phone, put it to the dead man's hand, and make his hand enter his password.
Ooh. Well, yes, please.
Okay, so that means you're committing it for the day then. So you're only going to have one more flexible effort left.
All right, and I only have two, so...
Yeah.
Well, I feel like... Is this the beginning of the scene, or are we nearing the end of this scene?
Don't know. Susanna has given you some indication of what's going on. It definitely looks like something strange is going on in Hopetown. And that's where Anna is as well.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Might as well.
Okay. So we'll say the same guy you reaped at the end there, who was playing the whatever bullshit on his phone.
Yeah.
You pick it up, and he raises his hand to it, and he, you somehow know you can do this, and you coax his spirit back for a split second, and it enters the thing, and the phone is now open for you. What are you looking for?
Any texts, communications, emails that kind of gives any insight as to what the shit these guys are doing.
Sure. So what you gather from the text messages being sent is that they, for one, these phones appear to be encrypted. Like it's the fact that you got this dead man's hand to enter the stuff was a really fortuitous turn. These guys seem to be part of a bigger group. They're one squad that is coordinating some kind of massive action on Hopetown. It sounds like there are quite a few other squads that are involved in this. Unfortunately, you get a sense that you got a small picture of this, but there is a reference to other squads neutralizing resistance in town. There's also a reference to construction equipment arriving.
Okay. Does it indicate what does it go any further in describing what's supposed to be happening in Hopetown, or what they hope to achieve in Hopetown with Hopetown?
No, the only thing they mention is Fimbulwinter.
Say again?
Fimbulwinter. Would you give me an intelligence check again? I don't think any of this apply. I don't think either of your backgrounds would really apply to this, or your facts rather.
Okay. 8. So I rolled an 8. Intelligence is yep.
Okay. So you're not sure. It's a you think it's a German word, but you're not sure what it means. So what are you going to do? You got this truck full of hardware. You're back from the grave, apparently.
No, I'm heading to Hopetown.
Okay. So it's only going to take a half hour to get there at this rate. What are you kind of what's your approach as you drive into town? Hopetown itself is probably only like maybe 300 people. It's got a fairly small town core that's right on the on Hope Bay on the island. It's a horseshoe shaped kind of bay. Most of the town is built on sort of the flat sort of like beachish area right near the water, and then there are a couple houses that are built up further into the highland that kind of makes the middle part of the island.
Is there like a bridge that leads to the island?
You would have come across a bridge to get onto Watson Island, but you there's no other bridges you pass. There's maybe there's maybe small bridges over like creeks that run down to the water, but there's really only one highway leading in.
Okay.
You would know the area well enough, though, if you wanted to try and use a back road. I can imagine there's probably, if you took a little extra time, if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, basically. I mean, part of it is getting to Anna as quickly as possible, but also with his newly acquired knowledge that construction equipment is coming in and there are additional squads. He's also doing recon to see what it is that they might be up to, like what their end game is.
Okay. So where do you think you live? Do you think you live in town in like an apartment or something like that, or like a small house?
Oh shit, no, he would not be in town as a fugitive. He basically lives in a shack out in the middle of nowhere. Which suits him fine because as a logger, I mean, it works well that way.
Okay.
He's traveling into the bush to get to work regardless. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then that's probably where you would hope Anna would be.
Right.
What's your relationship with Anna? Like typical 16-year-old.
Yeah, it's pretty erratic. I mean, Chick obviously has daddy issues, but she's the one that made the overture to come find Gregor.
Okay.
And he was trying to stay lost, and all of a sudden she kind of turns up, and he's like, but over the last few years, he's been doing everything he can to keep a low profile, keep her safe, and kind of stay off the radar, because if he gets found, he knows that she's in danger and he'll have to send her off. And he doesn't really he's kind of explained a little bit why he left, but she certainly doesn't know the extent of everything that's happened or everything that he's done.
Okay.
So it's a decent relationship, but she's still kind of like she's an independent 16-year-old, right? Like she's got a job in town, she's got a boyfriend or perhaps a few of them. Um, she, I mean, I don't know that the apple fell very far from the tree because
Okay.
as hard living as Gregor is, um, so is she.
Okay.
But it's just more becoming on a 16-year-old than it is.
Sure. So let's say that you're able to. Where are you going first? Are you going to town first, or are you going to go to the cabin first? Then.
I'll go check the cabin and make sure that. What are we at now in terms of day and time?
Oh, still evening.
On what day?
Same day. Like you're. It's probably like a weekend. We'll say.
Well, there's probably a really good chance that Anna's in town then.
Okay.
Um, but that's where he expects most of like, if these guys are trying to quash any kind of resistance, they're probably going to focus on the populated areas.
Okay.
So he's going to go check out the cabin first, and if Anna's not there, he'll make his way to town.
Okay. So we see a scene of you kind of like rumbling along on this thing on the side of the road. You can hear more, like it's clear from the sound, the noise coming through over the shortwave radio or whatever, or the walkie-talkie thing, that they're, excuse me, that the fact the squad is missing or out is becoming noticed. You make your way to. We see you sort of like rumbling up the driveway to get to the cabin. What do we see that the cabin looks like? Like, am I churching it up a little? Is it really more of a shack?
Yeah, it really is more of a shack. Like it's the existence of an outhouse is not surprising.
Love it.
As Gregor rolls up, I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically a former abandoned logging cabin that was used by the guys. Effectively, it was never meant for year-round accommodation. It was a place for the guys to go to have lunch in the middle of the day and to kind of store. There's a large shed in the back to hold equipment and what have you. But he's kind of transformed it as best he can into a house, so to speak.
Okay. So we see you come rolling up to this, sort of restored shack. Sitting next to you in the front seat, or riding in the back if you don't let him up front, is that big black dog. And as you pull up, you park. There's no lights on in the house at all. You step out, and does it lock, do you think? Or I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm not sure it would lock. I was wondering whether you would lock it, whether you'd bother.
The cabin?
Yeah.
No, I mean the reality is nobody. Gregor doesn't ever have people over. It's remote enough that he's not worried about people happening upon it.
Okay.
It's as far as the town folk know, it's been abandoned as a logging cabin, and they don't know that he's restored it to some degree, and that's basically where he'll come to town and he's friendly with the locals, but he never lets on as to where he lives, and I think they kind of get the feeling to not ask. I mean, basically, he's the largest interaction he has with them is going to the local tavern,
Okay.
and just whooping it up with the locals there in that capacity, right? So it's not,
Sure.
He's not throwing tea parties or anything.
Okay. So you head into the cabin, turn the lights on, I guess, and you're looking around, and there's no sign of Anna in here, but just, as soon as you go in, the smell of Susanna hits you. And how does that make you feel? Like, this is probably the closest you got to home, I'm not sure how long you've been here, but this is your normal life, you know? So even though the last hour or so has been so fucking crazy, this is your first moment of being back at normal. You see the bed that you guys shared.
Yeah, I think the concept of actually never seeing her again is really just kind of sinking in now that I'm seeing like her clothes in the closet and knowing that that's never going to, you know, that's never going to be a thing again. Yeah, Gregor's uh, edging closer and closer to uh, uh, he's heartbroken, really.
Yeah.
You know, as these things that he's looking at, like really small inconsequential things. Oh, that's the ladle that she used to make spaghetti sauce with, or what? Like, everything is just triggering a memory, right? And he can't stop it.
Yeah.
So he finds himself like everything that he's turning to is just actually making him spiral more and more, and he's kind of now consumed with these thoughts of Susanna and the fact that she's gone.
Mm-hmm. So what does he do?
He kind of like he takes a moment and like like he's overwhelmed, and then he just kind of he stops and he snaps out of it because he remembers he needs to find Anna. So
yeah,
he's like, okay, fuck it, she's not here. He's getting back in the truck.
Okay.
And,
so you're leaving. You leave the shack, and do you bother to turn the lights off, or you leave them all on?
No, leave them all on. That way she knows that if she does end up coming back before I do, she knows that I've been there.
Okay. So you leave the what do you call it? You leave the shack and you're walking your way over to this borrowed truck or inherited truck, and you can see that the big black dog, is turned towards the woods and is growling low. You can look over and you can't see anything in the darkness. Then you hear the sound of a bunch of trees, like a bunch of things snapping, like trees or limbs and whatnot. And then you hear and there's some trees falling off in the darkness. Probably about maybe 20, 25 feet away from the truck at this point.
I'll call to the dog, get in the truck, and then I'll fire it up and peel out of there.
Okay, so you're making your way over towards the truck, and as you do, you can hear something very big and very massive is making its way towards you. And as you get to the truck, you hop in, you start it up. You can see what's been making its way through the woods. And what it is what looks like a bear that is roughly the crest of its giant white back would probably brush up against a second story of a building. It's about as wide as it is tall. Trees fall down like poles onto the property as it comes out, but it doesn't look, apart from its unusual size and its unusual coloring, there's something else unusual about it, and that's that the whole thing seems to be sawed, like its fur is matted and wet and oily, and there are patches where its bluish skin covered in sores and boils and stuff are exposed. Its eyes are this like milky white. Its teeth are all discolored to be almost like a brownish color. And its giant nose is also mottled and blue with white spots on it. This thing stands facing if you're facing, you pulled up into the end of the driveway, the truck is facing the shack. This is effectively on the other side of the driveway, but you could still back out of this driveway. So this thing stands staring, illuminated by the headlights. It's bigger than the truck. What do you want to do?
Nope. It's on like Donkey Kong. I'll open the door and get out the side with basically all the flares and grenades and a couple of automatic weapons.
Okay.
Whatever I can strap to my body.
Okay. So you've got your there's a automatic weapon like a submachine gun around your waist, or like an AR-15, we'll say, strapped around your waist or your chest. You got flares in one hand, and you've got the like a bandolier of say like 2 or 3 grenades as well. What are you going to do? This thing is snarling and slowly stalking towards you. Boom. Boom. You think you can even feel the sensation of this thing. We get a side shot of this thing looking down at you. And again, like imagine a 2-story bear. And this is on all fours, making its way towards you. Its breath hits you hot and sick, and it smells like rotting meat.
I yell out to it, "What do you want?"
The dog is barking from inside the truck. And then this thing snarls. And if you take no action, it swipes at you. And you take... hit for 1 point of damage, and I need you to make a hardiness save to avoid getting knocked back.
Okay. So I just roll D20?
Yes, please.
I rolled a 7.
Okay. So you get hit and you go flying back, bam, and you hit up against this tree. I'm going to give you another 1d4 damage. Let's see. Oh, another 1 point of damage. And you're knocked prone. And you're probably about, I just roll a d4 here, about 20 feet back is how far he knocked you. And the dog is still barking. This thing now starts stalking towards you. Somehow sitting prone, this thing feels 20 times larger than it did before. What are you going to do?
Call out to the dog. For Christ's sake, don't just sit in the truck. Help me. As I try to pick myself up to...
Okay. So you can stand yourself up and you can still do something.
And I will light a flare. Oh, and you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to cast Nimbus of Flame. Wait. Does that require effort?
Nimbus of Flame, I think so. Let's see here. Well, you have 1 effort. Yeah, I think you commit effort for the scene, and then it lasts the entire scene.
Okay. So yeah, I'll cast Nimbus of Flame then.
Okay, so you look at this thing, your eyes flare up with like embers, and then there's just waves of heat that are coming off of you. Do you think it lights up as well? Does it cause are you actually glowing at this point?
Yeah, we'll see that. That's a pretty cool visual.
Okay, so you're glowing, and then you're leaving flaming footprints behind you as you're stalking. As you stand up too. Okay, so this thing roars. It's gonna try and batter you down again. Your AC is a 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 plus 5 is 8. That does hits you again. You take no damage though. And as this thing hits you, it roars, pulling its hand back, having taken, its hand is still like completely aflame, or paw, I should say, not hand, as it pulls its paw back. This roar echoes throughout all the woods. And at that, the dog will jump forward. Whoa, 19. Not bad. Pooch, would you give me a D6 roll, please?
5.
Holy shit. So I think 5 2 points of damage or 1?
1.
1 point. Okay, so it jumps forward and starts gnawing on this thing.
If I'm rolling D6 only, I'm never going to get the full 4 points of damage.
Well, that's where the bigger efforts tend to pay off a little better. You do get to add, like in melee, you'll get to add your strength, and at range, I think you get to add your dexterity. 1 sec here.
Okay, but for these rolls where I'm rolling D6, the intention then, I guess, is that I'm not supposed to get that much damage out of it.
No, so like behind the screen, what this basically the game we're playing is a basic. What it started as is a way of playing more like heroic mode in basic D&D, but without ever having to set up a whole bunch of new rules. So what they said is, all right, well, we'll use this damage chart so you can fight dragons and shit like that, and even those massive big hits that would annihilate a normal character, at most taking 4 points of damage from it. Okay. So it scales the damage down constantly, so you're not always going to be, it creates a smaller range, I guess, is what I'm saying. So the 10 points of damage where you're taking 4, that's a huge fucking hit. It's normally going to be like 1 or 2, and then maybe some other some other effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then that's, again, for normal things. That's where remember, like, they've only like a normal average Joe in the streets probably only going to have 1 hit dice, which means that, like, any significant, just like in normal life, any significant application of force is probably going to kill that person. Right. So, or at least leave them in a state where they're probably dying. Okay, so the dog chews, and that this thing roars and kind of kicks back at him. It has gone. It means it is your turn now. You've got these flames, or this aura flickering and glowing around you. You're leaving flaming footprints behind you. What do you do?
I light a flare, and from that, this flaming whip like projects out of it.
Love it. I love it.
And that is my 1d10 flame weapon.
Okay. Go ahead, like lion tamer. So that'll be, it's a melee attack, so I'll let you add your strength. So it's attack bonus of 1 plus 1 from your strength, plus this thing's AC is a 7.
Okay.
So that's plus 9 in total.
Holy shit. Well, I rolled a 15, so that's going to hit.
Fuck yes, it'll hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. Now, because this thing is a significant foe, you don't get to add your fray dice to this.
Oh, I don't, eh?
No, fray is kind of like that minion effect of you plowing your way through tons of lesser foes. This thing is something that's more significant.
Oh, that's really unfortunate because I rolled a 5 for my fray dice.
Oh no! How much did you do on your other one? Let me re-roll. Or not re-roll. Let me double check. I'll make sure that because I think there's.
I did fairly well on my my damage roll, anyways. So I got 2 points.
Nice. Okay. So this it arcs across this thing's flesh, leaving this vicious sear, like blackened sear mark where you have hit it. Let me see if where's the fray dice? Yeah, a single foe that has equal or fewer hit dice than you have levels. Okay. So because you're first level, that's not an awful lot yet. Okay, but this thing, you leave that scorch mark on it. Its turn. It roars again and tries to... what is it going to do? It's going to do something more interesting, I think. Let's see here. Oh, I think he's going to try and bury you to the ground. That's +5. No, +2 plus 5 plus your AC of 3. It does hit. So you'll take. Oh, that is 4 points of damage. No, that's not right. It's 2 points of damage. Then it takes 1 point of damage as flames. So what happens is this thing like rears up to its full height and then just bam, slams down on you. And you're borne to the ground, and you are currently pinned underneath this thing. Your hand is kind of under its massive paws. You're still burning this. Like you can smell this thing's flesh, and flames are licking up its paws, but its giant, stinking, breath is bearing down on you as its face is coming right down at you. And like the whole head of this thing is the size of the front of your truck. What are you going to do?
Does blood for blood apply here, Kev? I mean, to that last hit?
What does that one do again?
It basically deals an equivalent amount of damage that I took.
Let's see here. Blood for blood. Yeah, once per scene. Once per scene you can do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Once per scene, targeted creatures just inflicted hit point damage to you or an ally in the prior round. That creature automatically... Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, so worthy foes can make a spirit save to have it. Let me see if you can take have damage. No, fails. So what does it look like when your vengeance manifests?
Well, he's quite comfortable around fire, but basically, instead of these being surrounded by these and dripping these large gouts of flame, he turns it looks like everything's being extinguished on him, and he turns it's this black necrotic energy that just like shoots out in tendrils from him.
Yep. Okay, so these little like almost like thorny barbs twist around this thing as it burns into its flesh. And, and what I'm going to do is make a morale check to see if it can stay pinning you. If it fails, it rears off. Oh, and I failed! So it rears back. You're no longer pinned. And I don't think that took you an action. That was an on turn, which is like a free action. So you still have your full round now. Your flaming whip is still alight beside you. The aura is still burning around you. There's now this like small smoldering circle around you, like a snow angel or twisted snow angel. And are you standing up again?
Yeah.
So you stand atop, your eyes now ablaze with black flame coming out, still distortions of wafting flame around you. What do you do?
I'll give him another taste of the lash.
Go ahead.
15.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a hit.
And 5, so 1 point of damage.
Okay. That's actually enough. So how does this thing die?
Let's say the whip basically cleaves across its neck, and basically lacerates this like a burning gash across its neck. And
you could decapitate this thing if you want. Like, this is the level of power you've got right now.
Yep, that was what I was. I thought that might have been a little too powerful, so I was like,
that's absolutely in the ballpark. So your burning lash gets around its neck. It tries to rear up, and then you pull, and there's this sickening, like sizzling sound as its massive head is shorn from its body with your flame, and they both drop down, steaming flesh revealed between the two, and the flame shrinks back down to a manageable whip size next to you. And you finally manage to catch your fury. Your aura fades, the flame from your eyes fade, and the flame on your whip goes away if you want it to. Because you don't need to.
The whip was never really a whip. It was a manifestation of the flame from the flare. So
right.
if the flare goes out, ain't no whip no more.
Nice. So it goes back to being just a roadside flare, and you drop it down to the ground. It burns, in the smoldering ruin that you left there, and you gain your effort back because you had only one down. Here's another thing you gain. You gain a level.
What?
Yep. Welcome to level 2.
Holy crap.
So with level 2, that means your attack bonus is now +2. Your maximum hit points are what's your Constitution modifier? +3?
Yep.
So it's 4 plus half your con modifier rounded up, which means increase your hit points by 6. Your maximum effort increases by 1, so your effort is now a 3 maximum.
Oh, thank God.
Each of your saving throws go down by 1.
Thank you. Okay.
And give me another fact about your guy based on what he has gone through so far.
Well, he's kind of a badass.
That may be a little too broad. Kind of a badass.
He will do anything to protect Anna.
Yes. Dutiful father. That's awesome. That is really fucking awesome. It's exactly what I was looking for. Okay. And hold on here. I'm going to give you a couple choices for one more ability as well, because you have unlocked another. So your words were risen, fire, and vengeance, right?
Risen, vengeance, and fire.
So here's one of your options. Is we'll call it home is where the heart is. You basically you can excise your heart, one that can be destroyed with ordinary violence. Unless it is destroyed, you cannot be permanently killed and will regenerate from death within 24 hours from your largest remaining fragment. If the heart is destroyed, you can remake it, but it will not become effective for 6 months. You are instantly aware of any destruction of your heart, and while you can hide it or guard it, you cannot enchant it specifically to be protected from harm. So home is where the heart is. That could be one. Vengeance. Oopsies. I hit my fucking headphones. Final Reckoning is the vengeance option. Okay. Commit effort for the scene and target a creature you've seen before, naming a particular act they have committed that you find offensive. If they have actually done the act, the creature is immediately struck by a curse or misfortune of your choice, up to and including lethal events. Lesser foes cannot resist this, while worthy foes, so things that are higher than your hit points, can save versus spirit to escape the vengeance. The curse can influence the behavior of lesser foes around the victim to carry out whatever sentence you pass on them, but cannot influence worthy foes. So that's the vengeance one, Final Reckoning. And then the fire one. Cinder words. You commit effort. Your voice scorches your enemies. Every lesser foe within earshot takes your fray damage each round. You can ignite unintended objects with a word as a free action once a round.
Okay, so say that one again.
So you commit effort, and then
Yeah.
your voice scorches your enemies. Every lesser foe within earshot takes your fray damage each round. So that's automatic. They take your damage. And then you can ignite unintended objects with a word as a free action once per round.
Oh shit, that's cool. I mean, they're all cool. I like them all. This is the problem.
So which of those would you like to select? Cinder words. Home is where the heart is, or final reckoning.
Let's go with home is where the heart is.
Okay. So why don't you describe for us? I'm going to assume that you're going to engage that power now, right?
Yeah, might as well.
So you sort of know that this is going by building on what you had said before about how you were feeling there. You know now that you can actually like reach into your chest and pull your heart out and leave a portion of yourself there. How do you think that, like, how does that scene look?
Probably pretty gruesome, actually. I'm assuming he still has like full like anatomical and physiological functioning. So,
so he has to get like a butcher knife and actually, like, it's not a matter of just like, I'm gonna reach in my chest. Like, you genuinely have to like fucking carve yourself open.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
So he basically he goes into the kitchen, grabs what he feels are, and to be fair, this is not the first time that he may have had to what's the word I'm looking for, dismember a body. So he kind of knows the basics for what to do to not make a huge mess. Before he does any of that, though, he goes to the kitchen cabinet, grabs a bag of beef jerky out of there, opens it up and throws it onto the floor. Gives the dog a pet and says, "You did good today."
It picks up the one. And so yeah.
Gregor basically goes into the washroom effectively, and I mean, typically he would use the outhouse, but he had the washroom put in for Anna because, you know, she's not shitting in the outside, and she made that perfectly clear. So he's standing in the bathtub. He's put all the poly down, and he's got the mirror out that he's affixed onto the wall, and he's standing there trying to, like, basically standing naked in the bathtub, cleaving his own heart out.
Amazing. So does he have the water on to like wash the detritus and blood and sinew and shit out of the?
No, because he's put the poly down. He's gonna like it's the he did, like, there's no free flowing water. It's basically a tank on the at an elevation. So there's a he can't just let water run. He's going to use the water to kind of clean up afterwards, but the majority of it is basically falling in chunks onto the poly.
Okay, so he what are the sounds he makes? Like, does he sort of, like, you know, stereotypical Russian stalwart, you know, gets his way through this, or?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and the reality is he doesn't know who else is coming, and he doesn't know when Anna's coming back. He doesn't want her to walk in and see this, so he's stifling his cries of pain. And let's be honest, he's no stranger to pain, so this probably doesn't actually. I mean. As painful as it is, he knows pain.
Okay. So as this goes on, I think what we see is we see the initial like incision, and we hear the sound of the ribs being cut and whatnot, and then it you know your legs sort of wobble and you fall to your knees and you keep going. We cut to see, we hear all of the horrible sounds of this process, but what we see is the dog sitting, unaffected and kind of looking at you, and not like panting, or it's kind of like stoic, but for a dog, I guess. And we hear this whole process go through, and then we cut back to you, and then there's this massive pool of blood around your naked form, down on the ground, one hand on the ground, the other, the knife you used at the side, and the other hand resting with the still beating heart in its hand. What do you do next?
Well, as soon as I'm able, I will get up. I go into Anna's room, and there's a jewelry box that I've made for her. I overturn it, and I put the heart in there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I go back to the washroom, clean everything up, hose it down again, knowing having disposed of a body. Gregor knows how to clean up a crime scene, so to speak.
Sure.
So when he's done, it's spotless.
Yeah.
And
are you sure he was a prison guard?
Well, there is a reason that he ended up being a fugitive. So,
once all that stuff is cleaned up, you go back and you can see that the jewelry box that you made for Anna. What design is on the top of that box?
Well, it's hand carved, so it's inlaid with a bunch of like ancient Russian symbology from like the Orthodox Church, and he's carved basically a mirror into the middle of it.
Okay.
It's quite plain, like it's not ornate. It's just he carved it out of a block of wood essentially, and ironically, it's just large enough to hold a human heart.
Yeah. Okay. It's almost as if you knew.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
What do you do with the box?
I'll pry up some floorboards. And obviously the house is built on piles, or the shack is built on piles, so there's space between the floorboards for the box, and that is where it'll stay hidden for now.
Okay. So I think probably all of that stuff gets you, it's probably a few hours worth of that. So it's probably like well after midnight, maybe like 2, 3 in the morning.
Okay.
By this point. So you have finished, strangely, like by the time you finish all that stuff up, your suture or your the evidence of your home surgery has completely vanished.
Oh. Okay.
So you had what do you call it? Did you take damage in the fight with the bear?
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. Okay, cool. So go ahead and heal because you hit a new level. I will let you just heal up. Let's just say that happened. So you're completely
back to full hit points.
Yeah, because you gained a new infusion of power there.
Okay.
So what do you do now? It's about 3 in the morning.
Well, if Anna was coming home at all, she should have been back by now. So I'm gonna go track her down because fuck this shit. I've got to get her off the island.
Okay. So describe to me what you are, what your approach is to go to Hopetown.
Well, he's taking back roads in. and he's going to scout the periphery of the town first to see what he's still doing his recon.
Okay, so why don't you give me a let's do a dex check. I'm going to give you actually, I'm not going to give you any modifiers. I know it's dark and whatnot too, but by this point, knowing that one of the thing is on what do you call it? The fact that one of the patrols is gone and this bear thing that was sent did not return. I think that they would be on sufficient alert. So even though it's just one person and it's dark, I think it'll all come out in the wash. So your check is going to be against Dex. And do you think any of your facts would apply? No, the fugitive thing, I think.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and make that check. Tell me how you do.
Oh, I rolled a 4.
A 4. Okay, cool.
Not really cool. That's quite shitty.
No, it's going to be. So describe for me what you do as you approach the town.
Well, I drive up slowly, and I'm looking out for any signs of traffic, anything out of the ordinary in what I would expect. I mean, at 3 a.m,
yeah.
I would the bar has been closed for an hour. I would expect really no one to be up and about.
What you find is, as you approach, is that there's some kind of massive lights that have been like the kind of like kind of like construction lights you'd set up that like have that massive illumination that illuminate a construction site for the evening. Those have been set up right in the middle of town, and there is a massive there's a bunch of noise of construction crews at work that you can hear as you're sort of approaching town. I'm assuming you got your windows down, right?
Yeah. At this point, I'm going to park the truck.
Okay.
In a place that's kind of easy to get to from a variety of different vantage points.
Yeah.
I'll take a tarp off of one of the boats in town and throw it over the truck.
Okay. So that means you would have to get down to the dock, and I don't think you can get. Okay, actually, so that's what you're doing is you park the truck and you're kind of trying to make your way down towards the docks, and you've been carefully sort of like running building to building, and you're at the docks when you sort of realize that I think what happens then, another light kind of goes on, and you suddenly find yourself in a really exposed area, and you're like, shit. And there's a bunch of guys. So the game uses rules for mobs, and what this is basically like it's enough guys to block a street. That's how many soldiers are sort of like, get him. And by soldiers, I mean like these are your backwoods militia guys. That's actually who you were fighting before too. Like they have the same kind of like, the people who show up for like gun rights, protests and whatnot, or who appear, who take over Colorado, postal whatever. That's what these guys are. And you suddenly find yourself exposed, and there is a ton of them nearby. What are you doing? PCs act first. So what are you going to do? They're probably about, maybe between like 25 and 100 feet away. We'll just sort of abstract the thing because we're going to deal with them as one massive group.
Are there any townsfolk in and among them, or like in the vicinity?
Doesn't appear to be, no.
All right. Well, it is on like Donkey Kong.
Okay. So you can take advantage of the scenery and whatnot. You can picture like what a BC small town dock would have on it too. There's probably like a fueling station. There's probably like small shacks near there. There's a harbor master's shack. What do you want to do?
They're still 200 feet away, you said?
They're between 25 and 100 feet away.
Okay. Perfect opportunity for Fist of the Grave.
What does that do?
That basically same thing we used with that first group, where it basically.
Oh, Fist of the Grave. I heard Brave. Sorry. I'm like, Fist of the Brave. I'm like, that sounds like an interesting ability. I don't remember that. All right, cool. So you turn towards these things, and what is it? Is there like a chill that sort of, your eyes all go milky white, and there's a color, whatever remaining color in your skin is gone as this necrotic power reaches out?
He basically he starts emanating like these spectral wisps. It's almost like he's oozing cloud.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe, but he's kind of he himself is not gray, but it's almost like he's being enshrouded in this gray spectral mist.
Okay, so you can absolutely use your fray dice against these guys. These guys are chumps.
Yeah, fray dice, go. So I rolled a 12 plus 11.
So their AC is a 7. Remember, your attack bonus is +2 now.
Oh, okay.
So +5, because 3 from your Constitution, 2 from your attack bonus, +7 from their AC. That's +12 to your roll.
Oh, well, then that's 24.
Absolutely. How much damage?
1.
Like nothing from the fray?
1 for the fray, so it was.
And then 1 from the attack, or 0 from the attack?
1 for the attack.
Okay, so 2 in total?
Well, I rolled a 1 on the fray.
Wait, yeah, which is 0 damage.
Right, and then I rolled a 3 on the attack. So
okay, which would be 1. Yeah, so you did it absolutely right. Okay, cool. So those wisps come out, and one of the guys is dragged down, or like screams, and then his body falls limp. Big tubby guy with a mustache and shades on, or like the by whatever shades. Okay, so these guys start opening fire and firing at you. I'll make 2 attacks for them, and then you take as well. I need you to make a either, I think it's an evasion save, I'll say. Yeah, give me an evasion save to see if you can get out of the way of some of this hail of gunfire coming your way.
Okay.
They otherwise don't hit you, so it would just be this auto damage.
Okay. So I rolled a 13. My evasion's a 13. What does that mean?
You're good. Yeah, 13 or higher is what you need.
Okay.
So it's just basically like this fucking like torrent of gunfire that's coming your way right now, deafening, and it's echoing out across the water too of Hope Bay. And you dive behind a what do you call it? We'll say like a I don't know what would be there. Maybe like a low like a pillar, I guess, like some big wooden pillar that's being chewed away as you duck behind it.
Sure.
Your turn. What are you doing?
Can you remind me again what Rage of the Eternal is?
Sure. Rage of the Eternal. Was that a vengeance one?
No, it was a risen one.
Risen one. Okay. Oh, yeah, that would be in here. Risen one is commit effort for the day when making a normal attack. Whether through eldritch, blah, 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 it does straight damage.
Okay.
So you roll whatever you roll, that's how much damage you do. Even on a miss, it inflicts damage normally. So you could use that with your fire ability, with your Call of the Grave ability.
Cool. Okay, I think that's maybe a little much for these minions.
These chumps. Yep.
Let's go with Fist of the Grave again.
Okay. So you turn, and again, your eyes still white. The tendrils reach out. Go ahead and make your attack roll. And roll for damage in your, what do you call it, your fray.
Okay. How much am I adding to this? We said
Well, you're adding plus 12.
12, so
2
20.
from your 3 from your Constitution, 2 from your attack bonus, and their armor is a 7.
Okay, 22.
Yes, that's definitely a hit.
So in terms of points, that's 2 plus 1, so 3 points.
3. Okay, nice. So again, a bunch of them are torn down by your what do you call it? By your the spectral hands that reach up and tear out their souls. Anything else you want to do? You could move still if you wanted to, or you
how many
kind
of them are there, Kev?
There's still, like I said, it's about to start with is enough to fill a street. So like that picture that like enough to block off a street. So it's probably like what 25 guys spread amongst them.
And you said I'm at the docks right now, eh?
You are, yeah.
Are there any jerry cans lying around?
Probably, yeah.
Any full jerry cans?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I want to grab a couple of those.
Okay.
And I'll basically douse the street in front of me.
Now remember, there's another option you've got. You have to commit effort for the day, but if you do, you can stunt some other ability based off of Vengeance, Risen, or Fire. Those are called miracles.
Oh.
So, I mean, you can keep using your abilities too, but you do have that ability to do something else like amazing and cool. Just it commits the effort for the day then. And you would have had the full 3 when you gained level 2 as well. So you've only committed 1 for the scene right now.
Yeah.
So, well, that was your turn though. So it's their turn. You grab the jerry can and then they unleash a torrent of fire. Would you give me another evasion save? And I'll make their attack roll.
14.
14. Nice. Okay, so yeah, once again, you're sort of like, you can picture yourself running along and the gunfire is kind of like skipping along and tearing up the wood on the docks. You grab the jerry can and you duck behind a, we'll say it's like a pickup or something like that. That's at the dock and it's just getting like riddled with bullets at this point. Okay, then it's your turn again. You got this jerry can in your hand. What do you want to do?
I'm going to douse the street in front of me with one of the cans. The other one, I'm going to hurl into the air over top of the crowd.
Okay.
And then
I don't think you can do both of those in one round.
Okay.
No, I think like what because like dousing, like it's not designed to all come out at once, right? So you would have to spend your turn doing that, or you could toss one up. What are you thinking?
Let's go with the cooler one first. I'm going to toss one up.
That is always the right answer.
Right. And then what do I want to do with this? I'm going to use my flame ability.
Okay.
To have it explode, but instead of having it like it's not.
Do you mean you're going to do a miracle to make it explode, or do you mean?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Miracles are the best. So I'm going to throw both of them and have them both explode over top of this crowd as it rains down this hellfire.
That's awesome. So here's what I'm gonna translate it as. You're level 2, right?
Yeah.
So I will let basically you do 1d8 straight damage against all of them.
Cool.
And actually, because of the size of the mob, I'll say 2d8.
Ooh.
So it is this, you sort of toss the thing up, your eyes flare with lash out with flame again, and then the night sky is completely lit up with fire as it rains down on these guys. How much damage do you do?
Okay. Come on, 2d8s. Don't fail me now. Oh, shit. Well, I got to roll a 1 and a 7, so the 1 is nothing. But the 7...
No. Remember, straight damage.
Oh,
you
shit.
did 8 points of damage.
Yeah, 8 points of damage.
Holy shit. Like half of them are completely blazing, screaming and running around. You can hear their ammunition is cooking off as the gasoline, heats it up. There's one or two explosions of the grenades cooking off as they're going. In fact, give me another 2d6 damage. And read it straight.
4 points.
Wilhelm scream, and another one goes flying off. Okay, so I think is that it for you?
Do I have more opportunity?
You do not. No other actions. You could move again if you wanted.
You know what? I'll move into a position of cover if that's possible.
Yep, absolutely. You can run and duck behind. There's like the harbor master's shack. You run over there. Okay, so I checked their morale. They're still intent on fighting. So I need they're going to have to reposition themselves. So they're not going to be able to actually attack this round. But would you please give me an evasion save again?
That's quite poor. That did not make it. No.
Okay, well, fortunately, I actually rolled only one. So that means what happens is you duck behind there and you can hear them kind of like walking their fire, and they're making their way around to try and close in on you. Mm-hmm. So they're coming around on each side, but as they come around and they're getting shots off on you, you sort of duck down and you can hear them zipping above your head, but they don't actually connect with you. Your turn. What are you doing? There's really probably only about maybe 6 of them left at this point.
Okay. Let's go with Fist of the Grave.
So you turn, those tendrils go out again. Your eyes milky white, and what do?
Holy shit. 17. So that's a hit.
Okay.
And then 6, so 2 plus 1, so 3 points of damage.
Okay. So what does it look like as all of these guys collapse to the ground?
Basically, these tendril arms come up the same way that it did in the forest, and basically rakes through their bodies, and you could see it, as it shreds the soul from inside them. You could see the gray matter of their soul fall away. And their body crumples, and the remnants, the shreds of their souls, kind of like suck themselves into Gregor.
Are you committing what do you call it? Committing an effort to try and draw it in?
No. You know what? They'll just dissipate then, because I'm still at full hit points. So
okay, yeah. So you So but we'll say they swirl around you and then dissipate.
Sure. So
okay. So you. Apart from the flames and there's squawking on the walkie-talkies and stuff like that, they don't appear to. There doesn't appear to be any obvious enemies, but it sounds like some may be coming here. What are you doing?
I will now be skulking through town to try to find Anna. So basically, that entails going to the various boys' houses that I suspect that she might be at. And
so what you find in the course, well, first of all, let's give another skulking check. Give me another dexterity check, please. Let's see how this one goes a little better.
9 plus 1, 10. I don't know. Is that?
Oh, and you needed an 11, didn't you? What's your dexterity?
14 plus 1.
Oh, fuck yeah. Then because it's 14 means you need it's 7 or higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And with your fact, your fugitive fact, that's a +4. So really it's a 3 or higher you need to succeed.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that worked.
Yeah. So you go skulking through, and you're easily able, we see you like moving from alleyway to alleyway. We see some guys go running by trying to, go off in your direction. You hear squawking on the radio. What you're able to do is sort of get a good reconnoitering of the situation in Hopetown. What's happened is you can't find anybody. You go to like the pizza joint she works at, and everybody's gone. There's a pizza burning in the oven. There's empty trays everywhere. There's still pizza sitting in a little spinner on the rack. Every place has been emptied out, and there's an old cannery building that is down near the waterfront that it seems like everyone has been herded into, and there's a bunch of guards or whatever, or militia members, I guess, that are watching it. And in the center of town, there's this massive fucking excavation going on. Like there's giant backhoes going. There's two of them that are digging this shit out. There's piles. Like the pavement has been completely torn up, and they're digging down into that. And that seems to be where those lights are facing down. And having been so close to the power of that bear, you can sense that there is a phenomenally powerful being down there, and your eyes are drawn to this guy who is walking around in kind of like expedition kind of jacket, like a leather kind of thing you'd wear to go, hiking in the woods in like late autumn weather. He's got camouflage pants on as well too, combat boots, and he's leaning on a staff. And the staff, it has this weird kind of shimmer to it. It's blunt on top and goes down, but you can't. It has this blackish hue to it, but it's got a bit of a sheen. But the thing that's the most striking about him is his skin is almost completely without pigment, almost completely white. He has his hair is long in the back and pulled in a ponytail, or pulled rather into a braid that goes down, and he's got a long white beard as well too. He seems to be the one who's directing everything, judging from what you can see. And there's definitely a feeling of ill spirits about him. But the people, Anna included, it seems, are likely within the warehouse. You see, like, people you recognize from town are sort of taken out and then sort of like forced back in. The excavation seems to be going down fairly deep as well. Now, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm busting Anna out of there, as well as however many townsfolk I can get out.
Okay. Is your primary goal to get Anna out of there, or is your primary, and then well, I guess I'm trying to think forward here. What's sort of the, like, are you going to get her out of there and then just like get the fuck out of town with her?
No, I mean, ultimately the goal is I'm gonna tell her to get the fuck out of town, but I have to stop this.
Okay. So, you describe for me how you're going to kind of approach this thing then. How are you going to try and approach her breaking out? There's, like I said, there's that big old cannery building, which is kind of like a warehouse. And then there's militia members that are sort of stationed around the place, and probably a couple inside as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, as a former prison guard, if they're keeping watch over this cannery, this is a de facto prison. So he's gonna start looking for patterns of behavior. He's gonna kind of clock their rounds, looking for openings. For when she's most accessible, and whether that means he comes from above and kind of guides you to a place where they won't be noticed, and helps her escape. Like,
you don't want to, because, like, I mean, to be honest, you're so powerful against these guys anyway. I'm going to let you just succeed with this. So you describe for us how does it work that you get her, and you could probably get, if you've got a good description for it, you could probably get most, if not all, of the townsfolk out as well. So how does that look?
How far from town center is the cannery, and how many guards are
it's kind of right in there. Like, it's pretty close to where it's set back a little bit. Like, maybe there's one or two, like, it would have to be accessible from kind of the wharf as well. So it's probably fairly close. The excavation itself is about a block away.
Are these guys in uniform, or are they all kind of like?
No, it's all like backwoods militia types. They're all in like camo and stuff like that, but or like tack vests or stuff like that. But it's there's not they're not standing. They're not actually like an actual part of an armed force,
right?
Or armed services, I guess.
How closely does Gregor resemble them? I mean, he's coming in with his rifles and his bandolier.
Yeah, probably pretty. If you changed weapons, if you changed the gear, you could probably pass quite easily.
Okay, so he's going to go down, and he's going to.
Your fugitive fact in particular, like you would have experience trying to pass, like be invisible and whatnot. So totally.
Yeah. So he's going to go down there, and he's going to like any guard that he actually meets. He's going to tell them that they're needed back at the harbor master's house. We're under attack. We need all hands on deck at the harbor master's house. Go, 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 go. And however many he can get away, he'll draw them away like that. The ones that are left, he'll dispatch, giving him effectively free reign on the cannery. So he opens the back doors to see.
And by dispatch, am I correct in thinking it's the Call of the Grave as well?
Yeah.
Okay, or Fist of the Grave or whatever. So and they drop down.
Yeah, and he opens the rear doors to the cannery, and we'll say it opens out onto the essentially there's a bit of a pad, and then it goes down to the water, and he tells the town folks, look, you got to get out, use the boats, get the hell off the island, and he'll find Anna, and
so Anna will take a little. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Like, she took a long time trying to find you again. What do you say to her? You go through all the stuff. We see you revealed, and you're like, go, 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 and then finally Anna comes running out, and she sees you, and I'm assuming she calls you Papa.
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes running over and gives you a hug. And she says, "You're so cold."
Yeah, it's Anna, honey. It's a long story. You have to get out of town. It's not safe here for you. I need you to take the truck, and I need you to go as far away as possible. I will find you, but I can't leave here right now.
Where will I go? Where's Susanna?
Susan's dead.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry, hon. That's what I mean. It's dangerous like that. You have to go. Remember when you were little and I taught you how to hide? If bad man ever came, we played that game. Well, you have to go hide now.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. Okay, hold on here. Give me a charisma check, and I'll give you +4 from your fact of dutiful father. That's fucking great.
8 + 4, 12.
12 is. Hold on. What's your charisma? 8.
Yeah.
21 minus is 13. Oh, it's so close. So that's awesome. So she says, all right. And once the last person goes out, you convince her to go with them, and they go racing on. And then you wait until you see her disappearing off where you think you're going to go. Where? What does it look like when you go? Or what's the plan here to go and confront these guys now? Because we go back and we see like they've actually, what we see is they're excavating down, and then one thing kind of pulls back, and there's this, whatever is underneath there collapses in, and it reveals this massive cave beneath the streets, like a natural cave system that seems to extend in. And they say, wait, and then the backhoe stops, and we see this albino guy go down with his staff and looks down in it. And he gets, other soldiers come down with him, and they get some lights on. But he seems to be leading the way. What is your plan for confronting these guys?
Not confronting, joining.
Joining?
Yeah. So, he's going to pass himself off as another militia member, and if they're going down there,
yeah,
and he's taking the help, Gregor goes as the help.
Okay. So you sneak down. What you see is this. This. Let me give me. Okay. So what happens is I think at some point they notice that the people are gone, and there's a bit of hubbub and whatnot, and they've sent off people, to go and search, and that's when the thing goes through, and you're able to sort of make your way. So you're much closer to this guy now, and what the white wizard says, he goes down and looks in, and he says, in a really, oh, you know what? You're Russian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you make a intelligence check, and you get +4 to the check. So give me an intelligence check.
Yeah, this is a juncture that I really wish I had taken a higher intelligence. I distributed that a bit better. Oh, fuck, but I rolled a 19, so...
Oh! So you totally place this guy's accent. He's got a Finnish accent. And he says, and I don't know. So for those listening at home, I'm going to make an accent, but it's not going to be Finnish. Probably be Irish, to be honest. Like, it's the only one I do. So he says, bring her forward. And you think like, well, they've brought, he says, bring the blood sacrifice. And you hear a familiar voice yelling in protest. And 2 soldiers come down into the pit, dragging each of them holding onto the one arm of your daughter. That was that 1-point failure. She just wouldn't let you go, Papa. She's too much like you.
Fuck.
So she is straining and kind of kicking and whatnot in that way that the 16-year-old girls, do in movies all the time. I'm thinking farther enough back so that it's inconspicuous, so they're not seeing it's you. You don't know what this Finnish guy wants with her, but you can tell it's not good. Because as she gets closer, he grins, and his those like pink irises of his begin to sort of like turn blue, and you feel like the ambient temperature around him kind of drop. What are you going to
do? How many are down here with us?
There's probably there's the Finnish guy, and then there's probably enough to fill a what do you call it? There's probably enough to it's probably about a mob about the same size as before, maybe enough to block a street, but that's like all sort of spread around as well. What do you think?
I will replace one of the guards. That's really kind of nonsensical.
What are you thinking?
I'm going to take him hostage.
Oh, take the
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So give me a I'll say you'll be able to move because they're all focused on something else. So just give me an attack roll with strength, please. And I'll tell you his AC here is AC is a 5.
Okay. The 12 plus 2
+1 for your strength, +5. That's +8. So 20. Actually, that does hit.
Okay.
Okay. So you grab around this guy's neck, and then what do you say?
It's either your life or hers. Decide now.
You see out of the corner. Actually, you don't. He says, so in that same accent, so this one is precious to you.
I'll jerk his head up. Decide now.
So he looks at them and says, release the girl. And they let the go, and she's kind of like, she's kind of standing there looking at you. Says, Papa?
Hun, follow the dog. Follow the dog until you're out of here.
And you look up and you see the dog looking down, and he kind of growls.
I'll yell up to him. Make sure she gets out of here.
He looks at you and then looks at her, and she turns and is beginning to make her way up to the dog. Would you make an evasion save for me, please?
Well, that didn't go well.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Fortunately, so 16 plus her. Oh, no. Okay, here, I'm gonna roll it honest. So she's running up. She's almost at the top, and then the Finnish guy gestures with one hand, and this like icicle forms and slams into her back. She hear Papa, and she drops down like a sack of potatoes. And the dog growls. And do you have any effort left?
Oh, yeah.
If you commit an effort to the dog, something real cool will happen.
Yeah, let's commit some effort to a dog.
So you commit effort to the dog starts running forward, and with every like bounding stride, this thing doubles, then triples in size. And suddenly the 2 white spots on the side of its head, 2 other heads have come out. And what's pounding down the platform, snapping and biting at these things, is Cerebus.
Ooh.
Actual Cerebus, too. This is Cerebus who guards the gates to Hades. And these people these soldiers are going, like, being tossed up and bit, and we are now into combat because this is going crazy, and it's bounding down towards where she has fallen. What do you want to do? PC's up first.
I'll yell out to Cerebus. You save her. You save her now. I'll handle these guys.
Okay. So she what are you gonna do? So that was a free action.
Nimbus of Flame.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing against a guy who uses ice shit. Okay. Then what? That's a free action.
And
so that'll take you 1 effort.
Okay. And then I will break out my trusty whip.
Okay. So you
flare.
Yeah, so I'll say that's your actions. You activate the thing, and so you now have your flaming whip available for next round. So this guy first, he is scorched by your by your arms. And then I'm going to make an evasion check for him, see if he can escape. He can't actually. You've got your arm around him. So I'm going to apply the damage again. He screams in pain. And oh, you know what? He can spend an effort to do that to succeed automatically. So he throws you off of him. And then he is going to he looks at you. He says some kind of word that is an ancient. It's not Finnish. It's not Russian. It's an older language, and this kind of like hoarfrost goes over his body, and he seems to be projecting or at least he seems to have this layer of thick sheen of ice above him. And that is, I think that's all he can do. Oh, that's a free thing, like your Nimbus. And then he is going to gesture with the staff, and this blast of Arctic wind and hail and whatnot comes at you. He does hit, and you take. Oh no, that's not straight. So it's it is straight. Jesus Christ! You take 7 points of damage as this torrent is flailing across you.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to use an effort to activate Rage of the Eternal.
Nice.
And
so once again, you're burning even brighter. Your sparks are flying off of the flaming whip that you formed.
Actually, you know what? I think if I can recant,
yep.
I will use that effort to engage blood for blood.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing. Good stuff. So he screams in pain as your eyes flare, and he is scorched with the fury of your vengeance. Wow. And I think that was a free action, though. That doesn't take you an action to do that. It just costs effort. So what do you want to do for your actual action?
Can I still engage Rage of the Eternal?
If you got effort for it, absolutely.
Okay, that is my last effort.
Yeah! Go ahead and make your attack roll. This actually might be enough to take him down. Let's see.
So I rolled a 15.
That is absolutely a hit. His AC is a 3? No, 5.
5, yeah.
So that's still a hit.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll damage.
2 and 2. So that's 3 damage.
No, remember, you're rolling straight damage right now because you hit this guy.
Shit, so that's 10 then.
Well, your fray damage won't apply to this guy because he's more powerful than you.
Oh, then 8.
Holy shit. How does this guy die?
Is he still in my arms? Like I still have.
He's forward now, and he's got that armor on him, that icy armor.
So I crack the whip, and it wraps around what essentially his neck, where his neck would be, and you hear the searing sizzle of the molten whip as it melts the ice, and then it wraps around his neck.
Yeah,
and Gregor rips it back and completely decapitates him.
Nice. And just like his pet, his head falls to the ground, the body falls limp, and you stand there blazing, the whip blazing, your eyes aflame, and his body and that staff of his, that weird staff, hits the ground. So as this... what do you call it? After that, there's sort of like a mad thing of Cerebus has taken a position over her, and Cerebus is almost as big as what that bear was at this point. But you step forward, and when you see your daughter's fallen body, you sort of, that shit goes away. And what are you going to do?
Well, I'll go to her and see what I can do for her.
She is dead.
What the shit?
It's pierced right through her heart. She was dead the moment that it passed through. And you look at her, and like, it's just the feeling of having lost Susanna, lost Anna, lost your own life, carved your own heart out. But you know what happens at the end of a scene? You get effort back that it was committed for the scene.
Is it in fact the end of the scene? Because I fully believe that the way that this would play out with Gregor is that he basically goes into a blood rage and pulling on his power of vengeance kills everyone else in sight.
Yeah. So we'll just say that happens. Ah! There's just waves of all their energies being pulled in. But remember what your other word is.
Risen. Yeah, but the way that worked with Susanna was that she was only around for, I mean, well, hey, here goes nothing. So he will try to bring her back from the dead.
Okay. Because that is so much cooler of an ending than her coming back as a ghost or a cadaver, a revenant or whatnot too. I will allow the combination of vengeance and risen and fire, for that matter, to breathe the breath back into her body. And it's only the connection between father and daughter that would allow you to make this particular, to actually bring her back from beyond the pale. Every other, it would it not have been her, then, you know, it would not have been possible. But at that very moment, having sucked in all those other souls, you know, and channeled that power through her, she is back. Though I think she's got a marking of her experience. What do you think that would be? Like, have her eyes turned crystal blue? Has her hair got a streak in it now? Can you always see her breath?
Yeah. Anything she touches, basically, there's this momentary, like this cover of frost that comes to it. Like
Awesome.
It doesn't freeze anything. It's just this, like this momentary just expansion of frost from her fingertips, and then it kind of melts immediately.
Okay. At the end of that, you see that like once everything is going to calm down and you've poured all your the power and whatnot into Anna, and her eyes opened again, you can see that the Cerebus is back to the size of a normal dog now, with 2 white spots on the side. Comes up and kind of, you know, licks her face, and she kind of like, oh, she looks over at it, looks over at you. Papa, when did we get a dog?
Well, I think he's going to be with us for a while. He's a stray, but he needs a good home.
So what you see, the town is now, you know, everyone has made their way down to had made their way down to the boats, but with the massive display of power and whatever else, a bunch of them have come back. So sort of like you're cradling Anna, and there's that crowd is sort of coming back into the main area and sees you there. You can see them on, you know, on one side, and you see the giant open cave exposed as well. And I think what we end on is him cradling Anna, and we don't know what he chooses to do next. And with that, we'll bring the session to a close. So Dave, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
So if you're curious what we were playing, Dave, and for those listening at home, this was primarily Godbound. It's a very cool game published in the OSR as part of the OSR movement, where the game at default is you play basically characters who are demigods. You gain the powers of gods, and then as you go through, you gain more and more of your divine status. Pretty much everything from here was that, although I also used elements from Silent Legions. Both of these written by the very cool Kevin Crawford to give it some of my horror stuff in there. But this was my first time running Godbound and Dave's first time playing Godbound. But I had a good time. Dave, what'd you think of it?
We've got to play that again. That was so much fun.
It was so cool. Yeah. Well, and one of the neat things that we didn't get into in this session is Godbound characters can also, they have an ability to influence the world to either part-time or full-time if they're committing stuff. So they can make changes to the actual world, which is pretty cool. So like it is a sandbox game, but at a way different scale than what you normally, closer to like super heroic scale than normal scale. But yeah, well, I'm really, really glad you enjoyed. So I really wanted to do something special for tonight's session. So happy Halloween to you. For those listening at home, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can shoot me a tweet on Twitter I'm there as @Dungeon Musings. So all one word and plural, or you can shoot me an email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. You will also notice that we have links in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we're running on the channel. It is something where we've paired up with the SOS Children's Villages International charity, a really terrific charity that benefits children living in high needs or high risk circumstances, both in North America and elsewhere in the world. If you want to learn more about the Heroes Save Villages campaign and see what kind of cool rewards we've got available, all donations go strictly to SOS Children's Villages International. You can find that on the Heroes Save Villages site. And finally, I will comment again that on the weekend of November 30th, so November 30, Friday, November 30th, Saturday, December 1st, and Sunday, December 2nd, I'm going to be running some games at the Hobbsapalooza online convention. And one of the games I'll be running is a game based on the Destiny video game published by Bungie. And it's actually using some of the rules from Godbound. So if you enjoyed the kind of loose OSR rules tonight, that's part of the game I'll be running on December 1st. And you can sign up for that game at the link in the description below as well. That costs you nothing. You just got to show up and play. So last but certainly not least, Dave, thanks again for playing tonight. This was a lot of fun taking these out for a spin and kind of flexing our muscles in a new game after playing so much time with Pathfinder.
It truly was my pleasure. This was a blast.
I'm really glad you enjoyed. And great character, too. Really, really great draw.
Yeah, I just have to work on that Russian accent.
Yeah, absolutely. And not be like, it's Soviet Russia. Man come back from grave. All right, Dave, you have a terrific weekend. And for everybody listening at home, have a great weekend. And we'll see you again very soon. Thanks, and see ya.